Wikipedia brackets. I've refreshed them. He is the finalist from the last DreamHack fall, if I'm not mistaken. He is MacSed.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Jagannatha LE, we have the only Zerg player in the entire group stage of DreamHack China, representing himself. He is Wanted.
Zerg players out there, please give this man your energy, because otherwise we're going to have a situation where we get into the playoffs and we only have Terran and Protoss players.
Again, we've been there before. It's it's happened before in this region.
It usually happens, yeah.
It usually does.
Enough.
maybe Zerg can fight back. We'll see. As you mentioned, he's up against a pretty tough opponent, though. Last season's finalist.
Yeah. Which is definitely very concerning. To be fair, MacSed did make it to those finals off the back of PvT and PvP, so maybe hasn't really been able to practice his PvZ as much as he'd like to, but somehow I do doubt it.
Yeah, mate, you don't need to practice PvZ to make Void Rays, mate. It's not.
Well, I mean, you're making a bit of a joke, but I do feel like Protoss is generally, you know, it's a matchup where you can theorize a lot, and obviously you still have to practice whatever you come up with in your head. You still need to practice it and materialize it beforehand, but the preparation for Protoss is definitely a lot more mental, in my opinion.
Yeah, you could argue that just this matchup, that is what it comes down to. You know, the builds that you decide, what you decide to go for. Are we going to see a queen walk? If we do, how many queens? If we do, how soon is it going to hit? Are you going to wait for roaches? Are you going to go for a Ling Flood behind it, or a Ling Bane with a queen push? There are different options available to you, and I'm bringing them up because Jagannatha is known for them.
Especially when the Zerg player takes that triangle third.
Oh yeah, the forward third base has been taken. We do see a priority in that creep being spread, or at least we should. And we'll see where Wanted goes with this. Meanwhile, Shalkara, MacSed is opening up with a Stargate.
What?
I know, he's crazy. He's remaking the wheel, mate. He's doing it.
He's breaking the wheels, but he's doing Void Ray first.
I don't know what to say, mate. It's unexpected going for the Void Ray. And with this, gonna be able to deny a bunch of vision here. I do like this. Wanted is sneaking around the edge of the map with this Overlord, looking to try and eventually get in for that scout.
Yeah, just sneaking around. He hasn't left any of his Overlords in the obvious position by that natural base, at least not yet. He is foregoing Pneumatized Carapace, so yeah, Wanted definitely does need to be a little sneaky with how he sends his Overlords in. Not like that.
Yeah, unfortunately, this first Overlord is not sneaky at all. It will go down, but at least he confirms that there is a Void Ray.
Look, it's a distraction.
It's distracting him from killing the other Overlords.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A diversion, if you will.
There you go, there you go. Meanwhile, we do have the Lings getting ready to dive in. They do actually scout the Oracle that is moving out across the map, confirming that it's not a double Stargate or double Void Ray opening.
Yeah, thankfully already a couple of spores are on the way. MacSed throws on another Stargate behind all of this, and +1 ship weapons before Gateway. He does not want to touch his gateways at all this game.
He does not, mate. There we go. I was waiting for the cherry on top. The cherry on top is, of course, the Forge, as it is thrown down for extra cannons. So MacSed is looking to wall off, is looking to rely on static defense as he goes for Sky Toss. Meanwhile, Wanted, now eyes are on you, buddy. Creep spread is honestly pretty decent so far, more than halfway across the map. We have continued queen production here. Roach Warren is on the way, but we also have a lair.
Oh, Hydroden?
Maybe. So the lair, Yeah, the lair tells us that Wanted wants to go into an upgrade of some sort or an additional tech path, so he's not going to be as committed to this Queen Roach Ravager push, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it. So we'll see what his follow-up is going to be as the Roaches are on the way. Oh, nice round!
Yeah, already going to be able to take out a shield battery. This third base is looking mighty vulnerable now.
Oh yeah, and again, the creep is still looking amazing. Here we go, the Queens and the Roaches are moving out here with this lair. By the way, he will have access to detection in case DTs do get morphed in to defend across the map. And there we go, immediately we have that Overseer.
Very important source of vision here, again, just in case he needs it.
Oh yeah, and once that he's done joining up, he wants to push out across the map. Again, sniping that shield battery earlier was huge. The cannons and the additional shield batteries are not ready yet for MacSed.
They aren't, but the Queens still have a little bit of a ways to go. Do like the positioning the Corrosive Biles is trying to kite the Void Race away and into the Queens.
Yeah, exactly, and now we have to make a choice here for Wanted because the stack defense is finishing up. Ooh, one of the stasis traps does go up.
Not only one of them, the other one is in the back line. Wanted really doesn't want to move into that. The Corrosive Biles are trying to land as much as possible on top of the gateways, on top of the Cyber Core. The other stasis trap does get popped. Battery overcharge is being utilized, but I'm not convinced it's going to be enough.
Yeah,
it already runs out.
We'll find out. I mean, the gateway is going to get taken out, and with this, there's no more NG on these shield batteries, so Wanted is breaking through into the natural base. But so far, the Void Rays haven't fallen. Like, the micro has been good enough to keep them alive, and these Queens are running out of energy.
They really are. That's the most important. Oh, he does eat a bile, though.
Yeah.
With the majority of his Void Rays. I was gonna say, these Void Rays are the most important unit right now for MacSed. Time and time again, we've seen Protoss players lose a base, but if they keep enough Void Rays alive, they can go for the counter harass and can keep the game going.
Yeah, the problem is that the Void Rays are dying. Like, the Biles were landing earlier, and they're out of shields. Like, again, another Void Ray almost gets picked off.
Really starting to get low. That Nexus goes down. MacSed supply cap for quite a while. Wanted actually content with the damage he's done. I guess he doesn't really have much staying power either. His Queens did get taken out, so yeah, he's gonna have to be content with being able to take out that Nexus. How many probes went down? Not too many, but he did take out a lot of stack defense, which is something, I suppose.
We'll see how this goes here. Like, Wanted does have a follow-up. Because of that lair, we do have a Hydrogen on the way. Well, it's already done. We have upgrades on the way. Ling Run By is beautiful here, but it's because it's going to force these Void Rays back home. That's the big concern, right? We saw every single Queen die, and that means that the Void Rays could have gone across the map and maybe right-clicked on a base and killed the natural or the main. But because of the Ling Run By, the Void Rays are forced to stay at home.
A lot more probes than I thought would die have died here. 9 of them already to just a single run by. And as you were saying, the most important thing that Wanted was able to accomplish with that, though, is keeping all these Void Rays back. His Hydras are about to be fully upgraded. He's about to get them all out. He's remaking the Queens.
Exactly. Like, these 8 Void Rays are still a terrifying threat, but they're not a threat if they're not being aggressive, right? MacSed knows that he needs to accomplish something with them, but enough time has passed where Hydras have popped out. Queens have popped out as well. There is enough to defend these bases, and because of that, MacSed has to be a little bit more conservative with his Void Rays.
Unfortunately, yeah. Fleet Beacon finished up a while ago, but he doesn't really have the spare resources to get Flux Veins yet. He is investing immediately into carriers. Doesn't really have a lot of gas.
He does not. It's going to take a while for him to really get his bases back up and running. He needs a 4th base soon. Speaking of 4th, Wanted is honestly pretty late. This 4th base needed to be done a while ago. Meanwhile, the Void Rays are trying to find a way into the main base, but I love it. Wanted is more than prepared with 3 spores and all its Queens.
And now the Hydras are looking to flank as well. These Void Rays are between a rock and a hard place. There's only one exit out, but even then, he's going to lose a couple.
Oh yeah,
One
one Void Ray gets picked off, a second almost goes down. So again, Wanted, he's just not finding the damage he needs. And I love the Screech Thread, by the way. Earlier we saw him trying to clean some of it up, but he wasn't able to get all the active creep tumors. And now he's forced, he only has one option for a 4th base.
That option is an area that Wanted already has eyes on. Wanted's just waiting for MacSed to pull the trigger at that base, and then he's gonna go in for two, or he can just kill all of these Void Rays. That's the power of Group Spines, and now these Void Rays can't escape.
Yeah, exactly. MacSed, he left his Void Rays idle, and just like that, 2 of them get picked off, and Wanted, his macro is not stopping whatsoever. He finally has his 4th base up and running. He has the access to that lava. He is getting ready to max out and push out across the map.
Even thinking ahead, just in case he's not able to smash MacSed here. He's grabbing that Infestation Pit. These Void Rays honestly aren't too terrifying at this point. The Queens can try to deal with them, and best case scenario, MacSed recalls them right into these Hydras.
Exactly. Well, they need to be recalled because they need to be at home. Immediately, the Oracle gets focused down. We have the recall being used. We have a couple of carriers coming out. Disruptor's on the way, but it's not ready.
And that's really going to be the only saving grace for MacSed. Wanted, okay, not willing to engage that just yet. He wants to wait for the rest of his army to get in position, bring the Queens for it, since he knows he doesn't have to worry about the Void Rays in his base anymore.
That he doesn't. I do think he's giving his opponent a little bit too much time. 3 carriers are manageable with this amount of Hydras, but a 4th or potential 5th carrier may be too much when it comes to the Interceptors.
Or even just a single Disruptor.
Exactly.
2 Disruptors, so less.
But
it's so close! The Purification Nova will land on a decent chunk of Hydras, but it was only 1.
Exactly, but is 1 all he needed, because that was a beautiful Purification Nova. The Hydras are getting thinned out. There are only 3 Queens as a part of this. They're dishing out a lot of damage to these Void Rays, but there's still so much stack defense, and the Stasis Ward goes off.
Yeah, already a good chunk of the Hydras get taken out of commission. That's DPS that just isn't in this fight. Wanted isn't really target firing these Void Rays like he should. Purification Nova only gets a Ravager, but that may be all MacSed needs. He is turning the tides of this battle, and eventually this entire game.
Oh my god, exactly. Like, I 100% believe that Wanted just gave MacSed too much time for those Disruptors and for those additional carriers. He respected the Skydos a little bit too much, and now Wanted, like, the problem with going for Hydras like this is that battle, he lost, 22 Hydras. That is a lot of gas.
Gas that he hasn't really been able to recoup. Look at how low his bank is right now.
Exactly.
The gas is on his 4th.
That's the problem. Like, this is such an expensive army, and losing your first battle like that, I don't want to see that's it. But it's just a massive sink there, and now MacSed has all the momentum going his way. We still have a decent amount of Hydras, and Infestors along with Vipers will change things, but we need time to gather that energy.
Time that MacSed is not willing to give Wanted. Thankfully, Wanted is throwing down a couple of Ling Run buys. So at least he is able to keep MacSed on 3 bases for this long. Talk a lot about how Wanted took a lot of losses that is going to take him a while to recoup. If MacSed loses all of this, he does not have the resources to recoup.
Very true, but he already takes out a couple of those lurkers. We do see a Microbial Shroud going off here, but it is soon running out, and then MacSed is getting ready to dive in once again.
It's funny how the Microbial Shroud almost acts as a target for the Disruptors.
It does. That's what it is, exactly. Disruptors, Storm, whatever you want, mate. As another Purification
Nova
goes
it's from the ground, yeah.
Exactly. Ugh.
Okay, Purification Novas haven't quite been as on point. Wanted does get a couple of fungals, but MacSed has been doing a really good job of just zoning out Wanted's army, so the Hydras couldn't really take advantage of those fungals.
Yeah, on top of that, the Vipers weren't ready yet. Finally, they do have the energy. They do land a Power Bomb. Ooh, it does connect with the Void Rays, dishing out a lot of damage.
Yeah, unfortunately, a little bit too slow on the split for one of those Void Rays. This 5th base will go down.
That it will, and now we're down to 4 bases for Wanted against the 3 of MacSed. MacSed is still struggling, but he finally cleaned up that Ling Run by, and he will get his 4th up.
Oh, some nice Purification Novas. Wanted is almost maxed out right now. But he's maxed out on both workers and army. MacSed kind of has a bigger army right now. Like, technically, he's 3 supply lower, but come on, it's PvC.
Exactly.
3 supply is nothing to the Protoss player.
Oh, I love this. We went from Link run by to Lurker run by. There's no detection here whatsoever. This will force a massive reaction from MacSed if he wants to keep this 4th alive.
Well, no, he does need to keep that 4th alive. What am I saying? Doesn't quite have the army to go for a big base trade or an all-in right now.
Yeah, and Wanted is trying to hunt him down as well. Force MacSed out of position. MacSed, he's trying to expand to the right past the creep. Oh, God.
Definitely a huge risk. We'll be able to yoke the Disruptor at the very least. MacSed starting to turn around right now. Doesn't know how to... Hasn't quite decided how he wants to engage his army yet. The Disruptors are exposed!
Oh my God, so are the Infestors as well as they're trailing behind the army. You have to be so careful. One of the Lurkers does get picked off, but now Wanted has the high ground. MacSed has to be so careful with how he maneuvers his army. He also needs a goddamn Observer so he can clean up all this creep. Finally, it's joining the team, the army. Oh God, no!
Slowly but surely, the Purification Novas do land on top of those Infestors, and the rest of the Purification Novas land on top of the Hydras. Is this how MacSed takes the game?
Oh my God, every single Purification, he's not done! They just keep going! And where are they all coming from? Just every single Nova connects!
Wow, they're coming from underneath the Sky Toss is where they're coming from.
I didn't realize he had so many, he has 10 Disruptors, mate! Oh my God!
Sometimes you only need 1.
He got 10, mate.
And sometimes you get 10, yeah.
Oh my God, just like that. MacSed annihilates the army. Sure, he's stuck on 3 bases. Sure, he never got a 4th. But mate, you don't need a 4th with Purification Novas like that.
You really don't. Hell, you don't even need an army.
You don't, mate. You don't. Just like that, MacSed, he's just crushing on forward. He takes out a base. We do finally have a couple of yoinks coming in, but mate, they were needed earlier. We didn't see them earlier because they were protected by those carriers.
Yeah, if you were to yoink anything, you would probably yoink the Sky Toss. Another beautiful Purification over. GG's call. MacSed takes game number 1, but it looks very, very shaky.
Jesus Christ. I have no words there. Just the Novas were insane. I've never seen so many, not just juicy shots, but consecutive shots like that. Like, oh my God.
Look, you only need 1. MacSed got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7.
Oh God. I think I saw like 4 or 5 come out, and I'm like, oh my God, okay, it's over. And then like 5 more came out. I was like, oh, what? Where are they coming from? Why does he have so many Novas?
You had the exact same reaction as Wanted, I imagine. Where he's like, all right, I've dodged these 4 Purification Novas. He can't have that many Disruptors, right?
Yeah.
They were camouflage, mate. He didn't even need a mothership to cloak them.
He was like, all right, I dealt with them all, right? I dealt with what?
Right?
I said I dealt with them all, right? They just keep coming.
And by the time the 5 more Novas come in, the original Disruptors come off cooldown.
God, that was absolutely insane. And again, like, that all does come back to that initial push that we saw where, I mean, Wanted was able to kill the Natural, if you remember. Not a lot of probes, but the Natural, and he was in a pretty decent position. That follow-up Hydra push, though, I do think that it was delayed a little bit needlessly, or more than it really should have been.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you there. It was an opportunity where he could have just pinned the army of MacSed to the corner and then allow his queens to come in right at the end to reinforce at the end of that, but he wanted to wait until his entire army was there, which is what you normally want to do in a ZVP, just not quite in this case. Wanted miscalculated a little bit, overestimated MacSed's army a little bit.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, especially when it comes to Hydra pushes, like, Hydra pushes have a very short expiration date. Like, when you go for them, you gotta go. Otherwise, you're stuck with them, and you don't want them in the late game. You need Corruptors, right? You need a different form of anti-air. Being stuck on Hydra like that is a nightmare.
I can imagine. really can. And yeah, unfortunately, the transition to Vipers, I guess, was also a little bit too late. I think it wasn't really the biggest of deals. I wouldn't say so, because in the end, them disruptors, it was something.
Yeah, it's interesting that he prioritized infestors over the hive, right? Instead of starting a hive as soon as the infestation rate was done, he got infestors out instead. And it didn't feel like the microbial shrouds really did much. The fungals, there was never a follow-up for them either.
Yeah, unfortunately. But that was game number 1. We're now in game number 2, which is going to be held on Oxide LE. We're in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, starting all the way in the bottom left-hand corner. The blue Protoss player, currently up 1-0 in this best of 3 series. He is going to be representing Invictus Gaming, IG. He is MacSed.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Oxide LE, we have the Chinese Zerg player representing himself, currently down 0-1 in this best of 3. Can he bring it back? It is Wanted.
Look at that chat catch up with those purification novas, all the oh no's. Not like this. Oh man.
Shout
That's a game where I look at it and I don't even play Zerg and I'm like, ow, my heart.
Yeah, that was brutal. It was brutal as well because like Wanted had the Vipers, but because the disruptors were hidden underneath the carriers, like he just couldn't click on the disruptors. Like he just couldn't yoink them. He couldn't stop the balls. It was crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I don't care how high your APM is. Yeah, when there are that many disruptors that you need to disrupt the purification novas of, at least one of them is gonna land, right?
Yeah.
It really reminds me of back in the olden days when EMP was when we didn't have the EMP upgrade, right? So the solution for a lot of Terran players was just, yeah, no, I'm just gonna get like 12 ghosts out. Eventually, one of the EMPs is gonna land.
Yeah, I have to assume that maybe Wanted should have just gone for the yoinks on the carriers instead, at least to get them out of the way. Oh god, it was a rough position regardless at that stage of the game. But at the same time, I imagine that Wanted never wanted the game to go on that long. I imagined he wanted to end it earlier.
Yeah. I mean, there was definitely a reason why he went for the forward expansion so quickly, and it wasn't just because his opponent was being annoying with a pro block. This time it may be, though.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how this game turns out. I imagine we're probably going to see another queen push, which is worrisome because it won't be as effective as it was on Jagannatha. Jagannatha, we saw that forward third base is a nice launch pad. The speed zones come into play as well. Like, it all goes in favor of those queen pushes. Oxide, not as much.
Yeah, definitely a very defensive map. Jagannatha is long, but as you were saying, it really doesn't take much for a Zerg player to make it to the other side thanks to those speed zones. Oxide, though, got a lot of choke points. You got a ramp here by the natural base. You can really get yourself situated on 3 bases very, very easily.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
4 bases, though? Bit of a stretch.
Yeah, like plenty of Zerg players know it is a nightmare to try and push up this ramp with queens. Like, they get in each other's way, you know, like if you don't have high ground vision, you take a lot of free shots as well. It can be a nightmare trying to push up this ramp. So we'll see if that's what he decides to go for. Maybe instead, if he does go for a queen push, he just goes for the third base instead of the natural to cripple the economy instead of going for the kill. Or maybe he has something else in store for us, something completely different.
Yeah, maybe this time he wants to go into the late game. It definitely seemed like Wanted was decently comfortable in playing the late game when he had to, right? He was getting his lurkers on time. He remembered to get his Vipers and whatnot. So he at least knows how to play late game CVP. He just went for a build that was designed to end the game early, and then the game went on.
Really did. Meanwhile, MacSed doing MacSed things, doing Protoss things, as we would expect. +1 air attack is on the way. We do have double Stargate Void Ray production with the Forge. This is exactly how he played out game number 1.
We'll see if he has more success this time, as the Oracle does sneak in and get a couple of drones. We'll get chased away thanks to the Spore and the Queen, but most importantly, it stays alive.
It does stay alive, which is important because there's a bit of hidden tech that hasn't been scouted yet, and that is the Evo Chamber. Very interesting that we have an Evo Chamber. We do not have a Roach Warren at all. Ooh, but this does get scouted. It does get confirmed by MacSed.
And he sees it's researching, but for all he knows, it's +1 range. It's +1 melee instead, light. Ling Bane into Ultras! No, probably not.
We could get there towards the end, but Ling Bane to start with, definitely. We do have a Roach Warren being thrown down. Lair is already on the way, so Wanted approaching this game completely differently.
Yeah, I would say it should be a Spire, right? But he's only on 2 gases at the moment.
Exactly. We have to keep an eye on that gas count to see whether a Spire does get thrown down. He does take an additional 2 gases. Spire can always be tricky to work with, especially because the Oracle is still alive. Because of that, there's a chance for MacSed to scout the Spire once it is in production.
Yeah. Or to have Mutalists or Corruptors randomly run into the Oracle on on his side of the map, and then Max is like, oh, right then. I have a little bit of time to prepare. Utilize some Proto Boost, pump out some Phoenixes, and that's that.
Meanwhile, all 6 gases have finally been taken here for Wanted. The Lair is finished up, and there it is. There is the Spire.
Ooh, with the Infestation Pit immediately following that. Meanwhile, MacSed is definitely playing this...
Oh.
Wait, I was gonna say definitely playing this game different. Yep, okay, he has Warp Gate this time. I had to check myself again.
Yeah, but this is getting scouted. The Overseer dives in, sees the mass gateway boost on the way, so he's well aware of a ground-focused army, so the Ling Bane will come into play. Meanwhile, the Void Rays are trying to find what damage they can, but there are more than enough Queens to keep them in check and keep them in bay. At bay.
But is there enough army to keep a ground army at bay, as Robo Bay is also on the way with a second Robo facility?
Yeah, I feel like MacSed's on autopilot right now. Like, to be fair, he hasn't scouted the tech, but that's what I mean. He hasn't scouted the tech. He has the Oracle. He should be a little bit more proactive when it comes to figuring out what the Zerg player is doing. Because this composition, going for this mass gateways and potential Colossus or Disruptor, is great against Hydras, but there are no Hydras.
And there won't be any Hydras for quite some time either. There will be a couple of Roaches, but again, that shouldn't be the main concern of MacSed. He's actually not producing any Mutalists or Corruptors yet. Going straight into Hive? He's going straight into Greater Spire?
Interesting choice. I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense. Right now, the Void Rays don't pose a threat with all of these Queens. The Zealots are coming in, but there is no charge. There was never a Twilight Council, which is why I'm a little bit perplexed. And the Banelings come in just in time.
Yeah, I'm just realizing that too.
Yeah, that's why I'm pretty sure it's a mistake.
Yeah, probably, because that also means that there's not going to be any blink on the Stalkers.
Yeah.
There's not really going to be an easy way to deal with Mutalists. I mean, the Void Rays can deal with Corruptors, but again, what if it's Mutalists?
Exactly, and all these Zealots are going to go down essentially for free, wasted resources down the drain, and Wanted, if you want to, he could press this advantage, maybe head towards a third base. There's only 2 cannons and a shield battery here.
Yeah, he's definitely got some momentum behind this push. The Roaches trying to see if they can get anything done. But it will get chased away. I don't believe Wanted has any eyes on that third base yet.
Yeah, he was able to scout it earlier, but at the moment he's just setting himself up for reinforcements. Again, just setting himself up for the best way to engage possible. We do have those Disruptors on the way, a lot of them, and I was talking about Disruptors are great against Hydras. They're even better against Roach Queen like this. I apologize. I thought that we were going to see some Mutas, mate.
Yeah, same here. I thought it was going to be Mutaling Bane for a bit of a change, but instead it's going to be Roach, Ling Bane, and Queens.
Yeah, exactly. Meanwhile, yo, the slow Zots! The slow Zots, they actually get some damage done.
Versus unupgraded gateways. Huh.
Oh god, oh god.
Alright, the Twilight Council is about to finish up, and the Fleet Beacon gets thrown down as well? And MacSed is putting his ships into everything right now.
Yeah, I mean, the Fleet Beacon makes sense. The Twilight Council, I'm pretty sure, again, it was a little bit delayed. I think he just forgot about it. Now he has remembered it is on the way. Wanted though all over the map, going to be looking to deny this bottom right hand base, and now he's trying to bust into the main, into the natural.
Come on, the Bailings just need to connect, like so, and Wanted is able to bust his way through. The Bailings do get taken out, so unfortunately they don't get too much damage on the mineral line. So we move towards the south. MacSed is able to chase this away. A brilliant defense.
Yeah, he does defend against the roaches, but again, the roaches, they want to be thrown away. Meanwhile, the Lings are still in the main base, getting a scout up, getting some damage done, but MacSed doesn't care. He's pushing out across the map.
Yeah, he's comfortable enough to deal with whatever Wanted.
Go. The Vipers! No!
The Vipers! Uber exposed and taken out. Only one Parabomb gets thrown down before both full energy Vipers get taken out.
Yeah, a bit of a blunder there by Wanted, exposing his Vipers like that. Meanwhile, 3 Novas go up, but there's still another in the back line. But we have 24 Lings on the way. Mate, you want to shut down Disruptors? Get Lings, mate.
Yeah, they can jump on top of these Disruptors just like so. As you see right now, a couple of Purification Novas did land, did get a couple of Banelings. MacSed forced to recall the ground army, the Vipers? Void Race! Having a bit of a tough time against the Corruptus.
That they are. The Void Race are forced all the way back. Thankfully, the bottom right hand base was saved for MacSed, so he does have a 4th up and running. Meanwhile, Wanted is working on his 5th. Ultra Cavern is already done. Ultra's on the way. Are they the best unit right now? Probably not. But you know,
they're a decent unit.
Yeah, they're okay.
Look, if Lings are good against Disruptors because they get right on top of the Disruptors, you imagine Ultralists would be a bigger version of that, right? But surprisingly not, because they're just bigger targets.
Well, they're bigger targets, and they're also slower is the problem. Like
they are, even with metabolic boost.
Exactly. What I would love to see from Wanted is more Vipers. Obviously, it was devastating that he lost 2 of them earlier. He did remake 1, and currently he has 2. A couple more would be insane because, again, Vipers are important for the power bombs. Not just that, but also yoinking these Disruptors.
Yeah, but Wanted is about to max out right now, and I guess he's realized, listen, I just don't have the APM to spare against all of those Disruptors, even if I do have the Vipers, so I would rather just, you know, get more supply in fighting units.
Yeah, and it makes sense, right? He still has roaches. He wants to get rid of these. They are so much supply. Finally, they are going to be shaved off here, denying the 4th base. At the same time, a bit of a bailing round by, but it does get caught out by the Void Race.
That it does. 20 probes go down as well. MacSed, pretty hard supply capped. He's trying to go across the map for some counter damage right now. The armies are about even on supply. And I want to give the edge to MacSed if they fight right now, but we'll see. Wanted is taking his time. He's retreating to a more tactical position.
That he is. He's getting ready to receive the army. Plenty of Queens, Lings, Banes. Where are those Corruptors? As the first Purification of is going off, they actually miss.
They do, but the Archon's now in position to tank as many Baneling shots as necessary. A lot of the other Banelings also get taken out. A Nidus Worm does get up.
Yeah, that it does. Meanwhile, the Corruptors are coming in. We do have a couple of parasitic bombs being thrown down on top of the carriers, but the carriers are already pre-split.
Just like so, the Purification Novas are gonna land on most of these Queens. Corruptors doing a really good job against the Void Race, but now some Stalkers and Archons are here to join the fray. Corruptors, they just don't shoot down.
They do not, but you know what? 7 Ultras are in production alongside 50 Lings there coming out. Problem is that they are trickling out, and this is such an awkward position to push in, and that is because, mate, they're across the map. Oh my god.
Wow. We have a bit of a base trade on our hands. I do imagine that MacSed recalls the Archons. He can deal with those Lings, no problem at all, but that's also going to be able to... That's also just giving Wanted a lot of time to get back in this game. Oh, actually recalls the Void Race, and I tell you what, the Circlings don't shoot up. Oh! But God. Archons do.
That they do. The Ultras have to be so careful with how they engage the Disruptors. They're going off. They do connect with the Ultras.
Yeah, one Disruptor goes down. I think most of the Disruptors have gone down, actually. But it's kind of a moot point from here on out because the rest of the army falls. GG. MacSed takes that series 2-0.